Aging and agelessness. This is a big question and it's a big topic. How do we stay vital? How do we cultivate our vitality as our bodies go through the process of time? So, I want to suggest to you that no matter how old you are or how young you are aging. From the moment we are born, we begin the process of aging. So, how do we stay vital as our bodies mature? And this morning, as I was thinking about this, there's a song that came to mind. I forget how it goes, but it's like, na 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 when you're young at heart. I think I'm mangling that song, but it's something like that. It's like an old classic song about being young at heart. But that really is the secret of agelessness, even as we age. And if we think about the elders in our lives, we probably can think of at least someone we know who is, chronologically aged, uh, and also very youthful. Like, she might still have a spark in her eye, or she might still have her little, wickedness, or, something kind of playful about her. And this is, that's the archetype of like the sassy crone, the crone who's like, just like what Mary Sheila was saying about her birthday, with each decade, um, if we're living from a place of vitality, that less the things that are not us fall away faster, so that by the time we're in the third act or the fourth act of our life, it's just us, man, and we're riding strong. However, this is all easier said than done. It certainly can be, because the truth is, and the reality is, that as we travel on the journey of life, we will inevitably experience loss. We'll experience disappointment. Things that we wanted and that we hoped for um, don't happen, or they happen and they fall apart. Or, we have like chronic issues that we struggle with, and we keep trying to work it out, and we keep feeling like, we're circling back to square one, or that we're failing, or whatever. So, this is they call this Earth School for a reason, because life is very challenging. And, in the face of the challenges of life, we have a choice. We could go the way of the shadow crone, who we haven't really talked about very much in these last couple of months, but we could go the way of the shadow crone, and we could contract, in the face of loss or devastation. And mind you, sometimes we need to go through that period of contraction. So, for example, if we're in a time of really intense grieving, there's absolutely that place for going inward and just kind of keeping the world at bay, so that we can, process the grief. So, there's a place for that, but then there's also a place where that contraction can literally rigidify, and it can calcify, and it can harden, and it can become a mindset of like shrunken, limited possibility. And we can tell ourselves, oh, I can't. Or the big one, the big lie, it's too late. It's too late for me. I'm too old. I mean, I've heard, like, my 19-year-old niece said she was too old. I was like, well, what are you talking? So like we can get into that, right? So that's one choice. Or we can go the way of the wisdom crone, and we can take a generative relationship to our experience. So, just as we were talking, Mary Sheila and I were talking in the recorded call last week about, the dancing maiden in the center of the crone's heart. Likewise, every experience of trauma contains within it some seed of transformation, where there's some blessing. there's something we can learn. There's something that we're given. There's some gift. And so I want to invite you, to think about the challenges of your life, not so much from a place of self-pity, like, oh, shit, I have this problem and, it's hopeless and what's wrong with me and what's wrong with this other person and what's wrong with the world and all of that. That I want to invite you to just shift that into a fresher perspective that can relate to things as they are, right? I mean, it's not that we're denying how hard things are or how hard they can be, but rather um, we're working with it from the point of view of like there's a seed, there's some transformation that is wanting to be born here. There's something, there's some way that I can take this experience and perhaps refine my own character, or leverage it to make a positive contribution to somebody else's life or a positive contribution to the world, or um, just take it for my own, my own learning curve, my own growth edge.